everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Engineering Student Experience Podcast. I'm Paul Nissenson from the Mechanical Engineering Department at Cal Poly Pomona. Today's episode is all about what it's like to be a freshman engineering student. The first year of college can be a difficult time for many students as they make the transition from high school life to college life. New college students have to adjust to the style and structure of college courses. There are different expectations from instructors. They have to learn how to navigate through the college bureaucracy, all the while trying to find new friends, find themselves, and learn how to take greater responsibility for their lives. I have 3 guests with me to discuss what it's like to be a new freshman engineering student. My first 2 guests, Monica Felix and Gerardo Changizian, were both nearing the end of their first semester here at Cal Poly Pomona at the time of recording. They had a few months to experience the differences between high school and college and had begun to figure out what adjustments they need to make in order to succeed in this new environment. In this conversation, we were able to capture their thoughts about the challenges of adjusting to college life while those thoughts are still fresh in their minds. It's been over 2 decades since I was a freshman in college, and many of my memories have either been lost to time or heavily reshaped by later experiences in my life and are probably somewhat unreliable at this point. Monica, Jared, and I are joined by Dr. Jessica Perez, who's a faculty member in the Electromechanical Engineering Technology Department at Cal Poly Pomona. You may remember Jessica from the episode about first-gen college students and the episode where I interviewed engineering faculty about how they're making the transition to online instruction due to the coronavirus pandemic. Jessica frequently teaches a first-year engineering experience course, which puts her in contact with many freshman students and allows her to see firsthand how these students try to adjust to college life. During our conversation, we discussed Monica and Jared's transition from high school to college, what college courses and college professors are like, and how they differ from high school courses and high school instructors. We talked about the importance of time management, the pros and cons of commuting to campus, and many other topics that should benefit high school students who are trying to prepare for college. Before we jump into the interview, I want to mention that this episode was recorded several months before the coronavirus pandemic completely upended everyone's life. So if Jessica, Monica, Jared, and I seem relatively upbeat during the interview, you'll understand why. I also want to mention that if you're enjoying this podcast, there are a few ways that you can support it. You can subscribe to the podcast using your favorite podcast apps such as Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and many others. You can rate the podcast and leave comments on whatever platform you use to listen to the podcast. And finally, you can help spread the word about the podcast by telling your friends, family, classmates, or whoever you think would benefit from this podcast. If you have any comments about this episode or would like to receive email notifications when new episodes are released, email me at tesepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll place the email address in the show notes. I'll personally read each email and try my best to respond to them all. And now I bring you our conversation. I hope you enjoy it. All right, well, I'm here with 3 guests today. We have Jessica Perez, who's a faculty member in the Electromechanical Engineering Technology Department here at Cal Poly Pomona. She's our first repeat guest.
Thank you for having me.
I know. No, you're great. There's a reason that we had you back.
It's my charming personality, I know.
And I also have 2 undergraduate engineering students, Monica and Jared, who are both freshmen. And that's what this episode's all about today. What is it like to be a freshman at a university? So we're actually recording this episode at the end of the first semester that Monica and Jared have been here at Cal Poly Pomona, and we're trying to capture their thoughts and their impressions in the moment. So first of all, welcome everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really glad to have you here. So for our listeners, let's get a little bit of background from everybody to see where you're coming from. And first we can start with Jessica. So maybe you can remind listeners a little bit about your background, your education, and your research interests.
Sure. I have a bachelor's degree and from Cal Poly, and I have my master's in engineering from a different university. And then I kind of took some twists and turns in my program and kind of wandered through my life, and then came back and got my PhD in education. So my focus is in engineering education. And so instead of being engaged in a more technical type of engineering research, a traditional type of engineering research, I really engage with research that talks about how students and how we as a group educate people and how students engage with the field of engineering. And so here at the university, one of my roles that I have is to coordinate the first year experience class. So all the freshmen or the first year students kind of come through my undertaking to some extent. I don't necessarily have them in class, but I oversee the program that I coordinate the program that the first year class.
How many first-time freshman students do you typically teach a year?
It depends on the year. This semester I have over 100. I have probably close to 150 first-time freshmen in my classes. And then next semester I'll probably have about 40 because I have one class. So it depends on just the semester. We have definitely more classes in the fall than we do in the spring. So, and this is my third year doing it. So I've seen a lot of first-time freshmen coming in and that bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, like, I feel like I'm a mom and they should hold a little sign that says my first day of college and take a picture.
So just for the listeners also, so first-time freshmen are students who are coming in right after high school.
Directly from high school, correct.
Okay.
Wait.
Oh, yeah, one more thing.
Not necessarily first-time freshmen come directly from high school. We have a lot of student veterans that go through their veteran program first. So they're in the military or they take a gap time. And so they're coming directly from the last formal education they had was in high school.
Okay. So that would not include transfer students from, say, community college. Okay. And Monica and Jared, what is your major for the listeners? How did you choose it? And what was high school like for you? I can barely remember high school
I don't remember
at this
high
point.
School.
It's probably a lot more fresh in your mind. So what was that experience like for you both? Maybe we can start with Jared.
So I'm doing mechanical engineering, and in high school I was a part of the STEM Engineering Academy. So I was kind of like pruned from freshman year in high school to go into an engineering pathway. So I always kind of knew that's where I wanted to go, which was like really, really early, especially from like 8th grade, which I had to apply and to get into the program. So high school was really, really fun for me though. My senior year was amazing. I had a great group of friends, and as sad as it was to see all my friends go off to different colleges and, move on and then get into my next step of life, I'm trying to make it through right now. So.
Me, I'm chemical, right over here. I'm chemical engineering. When I was in 8th grade applying to high schools, I got accepted to Cabrera, which is in Long Beach, and they wanted me to join the engineering program because I was good in math. I had good grades in math or whatever, so they wanted me to join the pathway of engineering. So I went into it. I didn't really like it in the beginning. I hated engineering. I failed the second semester, and then as I went through, we would have like little women in STEM conferences and stuff, and I met a chemical engineer, and she invited me to a workshop, and we made like nail polishes and all kinds of other things. And that's what intrigued me to pursue my career in chemical engineering.
So what classes are you currently taking in your first semester at university?
I currently don't have any mechanical engineering classes that I'm taking, but I am taking Physics 1510, which is Newtonian mechanics, the lab for that, Engineering Society in U, and then the lab for that one, which is
the first-time freshman class.
Yeah, that's okay. Dr. Perez's class. I actually have her for the lab. And then I'm taking an intro to philosophy class, which I actually really love. I've always been interested in philosophy, but they never had it at my high school, so it was a good opportunity for me to take it. Calculus 2, and then I think that's it.
Yeah, and that's actually very common for students to not really get into their major classes until about their second year, after they get their physics, and their math and maybe some general education requirements
Which
out
is
of the way.
part of the reason that they do the first year experience class. So you're getting at least a little connection to your field before the math you have to have, before the physics and all that. You're able to get a good initial connection.
Yeah, my spring semester, I already have like, I think 3 or 4 mechanical engineering classes that I'm taking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
4 actually.
how about you, Monica? What are you taking right now?
Oh, nothing compared to him. Oh man, he's way ahead. I'm taking 2 math classes, which is college algebra and trig, and then I'm taking history of the 2 engineering classes as well as him.
So while high school is still fresh in your minds, how are the classes in college different than your high school classes, and how are the instructors in college different than high school? Maybe we can start with Monica.
Wow. Well, in high school, they cared about me. If I wasn't showing up or my grades were going down, they'll be right behind me like, Monica, get it together, or I'll extend the deadline for you to turn it in or whatever. And here, it's not the same. They don't care if you come to class. They don't care if you turn in the work. They want you to pass, but it's up to you. It's totally up to you if you want to pass or not.
You have a lot more freedom.
Yes,
As a student.
definitely.
Yeah, enough rope to hang yourself with, that's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with her. It's a lot more freedom to do with what you want. I can say personally, I've had a bunch of my classes canceled already. like I think my calculus class, I've already had like 3, maybe 4 days where I've gotten out early or I just haven't had to go at all. Your class, you've canceled like once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
And then my physics class, I basically don't pay attention in. So that's, it's kind of like, if I know the material, I don't really have to like pay attention. So it's more like up to me to get my stuff done versus like high school. It was a lot more step by step and they babied you. And then obviously the coursework for high school was like really long. You had the entire year for one class and it was every single day. So there's a lot more that you learn and it's a lot slower. So they had to stick with us more. So.
And now you have 15 weeks
Yeah.
to learn a ton of material, right?
I don't actually think
Only
it's
every other day.
That's true.
I want to add that, like, they tell you in high school, like, it's different in college, and I didn't believe them. So I came and I'm like, no, this is really different. Like, and it's so hard to, like, adapt to the new, having the freedom of going to class or not. They're not going to call my mom and be like, oh, your daughter didn't go to class today, So they have that freedom, But,
Well, I remember when I was a freshman, I was taking a calculus class. It was 8 a.m.
No.
I mean, nowadays, I can get up at 8 a.m. It's not a problem. But, when I was 19 years old, I missed a lot of those classes.
yeah.
So I don't know if you've had a similar experience, if you have early classes, if it's difficult.
I have trig at 7 a.m. and I commute. So
Oh, you have 7
from Long Beach, yes.
And she commutes.
So I have to
commute.
be on the freeway by like 5:30 on my way over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you drive longer than mine.
Mm-hmm.
So you, in high school, you're basically attending class, 5 days a week, something like 6 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
In college, you're attending classes a lot less time, but you're expected to do a ton of homework, right? So has that adjustment been difficult for you? Have you had any difficulty managing your time?
Well, I commute only 3 days a week, so I have 4 days off. So it's a little weird managing my time because I have so much of it to do my work. So like I'll have a bunch of homework that'll pack up all on like because I have my math and my physics classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So they'll be like I'll have the same assignments due for both those classes on the same day, like 2 weeks from now or whatever, and I'll have to get them all done by that certain time. But I have a lot of free time to do it. So a lot of time what I find myself doing is like, it's not time management issue that I have, but it's more of like, well, I guess it is time management of like figuring out when I'm going to do it. Cause I'm like, I want to go and like hang out with my friends and be social and then I'm like, oh wait, my deadline's coming up. So I have to get that out of the way. So.
For me, it's hard. It's not even time management. It's like, well, yeah, it is time management. Well, I get home at like 11, close to 11. I shower. Yeah. I shower, do what I gotta do. And then I go to sleep. And then all morning, I just want to be asleep before my mom comes home from lunch and gets me in trouble for still sleeping. So I try to get all the sleep I can. And then when I do wake up, I'm like, oh, should I do homework? Should I not do homework? So of course I have to do it. But just that, it's like, it's hard. It's hard. Commuting, there's advantages, but there is like, it's downsides. Like right now, I'm super tired. But I had to come to school.
Well, and I think it'll be interesting because here's your first semester in college and you're not really in a lot of really traditional engineering courses. So you're learning to manage in this kind of in-between stage. And now, Jared, how many, do you have 3 engineering courses next next semester?
I have 4 actually.
So then it's going to be a whole new time management when you're into you're welcome. Surprise. It'll be a whole new time management when you're into your major courses and you have a lot of labs. Those take so much time. And it's definitely like that reblocking now you're going to have to do. And that's hard for a first-time freshman, like understanding how your time management is going to evolve.
Yeah, when you get to your 3rd and 4th year courses, you might have a project that's due toward the end of the term. And so it's not just 2 weeks from now, it's 2 months from now or something that you're going to have something to do. So that I can imagine that's very difficult to manage. Actually, I was going to ask Jessica, is that one of the biggest issues that you see with first-time freshman students?
There's a lot of issues with that lately I've been seeing with the first-time freshmen, definitely time management, but this notion of like the different expectations, like we had talked about previously, my expectations of your time are different because you're going to be spending the time differently as a freshman than you were in high school. Like if I'm there, like Monica was saying, if I'm there to monitor you every day, I know exactly what you're doing because you're sitting in front of me for an hour. And maybe I'll have you a couple of years or whatever at the same high school. And now that you're in college, I'm going to see you for 15 weeks and that's it. It's definitely a different transition, especially for a student that was really involved in their high school and really connected to a lot of their teachers in high school. Here you're on your own.
Absolutely. So was it difficult to go from being a senior in high school where you're one of the oldest people there, you know the system, you understand how the campus works, back to now being a freshman, to being one of the youngest people, trying to figure out how this giant city of 25 to 30,000 people, how this thing works? Have you had any difficulty navigating the bureaucracy here on the campus? Has there been any difficulties with this transition?
I just keep telling myself that everybody's been through it, that everybody's went through it. I just keep telling myself that. It is hard. It is very hard because,
it's a lot.
I understood I was already there for 4 years, so I was already a pro at that school, and then I come here and it's so big and a bunch of students, a lot of buildings that you have to keep track of, and then it's so difficult. Like, I was so confused, like the building first and then the room number. That was like, I was already like, I'm gonna be lost the first day, man.
That was a pain the first week to figure out the room numbers, how it was organized.
Mm-hmm.
I caught on pretty quickly though.
But it's definitely an adjustment. Like,
it was,
and there's, depending on your campus, there's no rhyme nor reason necessarily to the way buildings are placed.
Especially this campus, the building numbers are so out of order.
Yeah, we have 2 engineering, kind of 3 engineering buildings. One's 9, another's 17, another's 13.
Yeah.
And they're like all right next to each other.
And,
how does that work?
Building 1 is right next to 94.
And then there's a lot of walking on this campus. Ooh, Lord.
Well, that's true. The buildings are much farther apart probably than high school, right?
Yeah, and there's like hills and stuff that you have to go through, like a whole maze at the school.
So one thing I always recommend to the students is to, before your first day of class, is to actually walk from building to building so you can time how long it's going to take you. Because sometimes you only have, 10 minutes?
I did that within my, I came like 2 days before fall semester started, and I walked around and made sure I had time for all my classes. Yeah. I have like a 15-minute gap in between my physics and my philosophy class, so I made sure that I had time for that, and it worked perfectly. So
do you feel like there's overall, let's say, less support in college than there was in high school?
I wouldn't really say less support. I mean, there's way more opportunities to get help if you're struggling in a course. I mean, obviously they have tutoring at high school and all that, but there's way more opportunities here. I haven't really started looking into them, but I've heard of all the opportunities that are there.
Like tutoring centers.
Yeah, and then office hours with your professors. And it's not as personalized as it would have been with high school, where you can get one-on-one with your teacher and actually like build a rapport. But there's definitely way more opportunities, and there's way more students that you can connect with and try and figure out what you're missing in whatever subject you need.
I totally agree with Jared. it's up to you to make the effort to have a relationship with your professor. So it's not like how in high school you see them every day. You know, you're obviously forced to have a relationship with your professors here. No, it's up to you to knock on their door, go to their office hours, and make that effort. You know.
So I know that Monica commutes. Jared, do you commute as well?
I do commute, yeah.
Okay. So I was going to ask you, what kind of advantages or maybe disadvantages do you see in commuting compared to living on campus, if you know other students who might be living on campus?
I was all for commuting when I first thought about it. And then, like, now I'm starting to be like, I don't know if I want to wake up at 5 a.m. every morning just to get here for my 8 a.m.s. And I don't know, it's a little bit more tedious now, but it works for my schedule, so.
It wears on you, though.
It does, yeah. I completely underestimated that.
Yeah, since I have like a whole 7-hour gap from my classes, I have all that time to do my homework and get work done so that when I'm home, you know, I can spend it with my family, run errands for my parents or whatever. So that helps me out a bit, you know.
And that's a good point, making the best of this like gap time, right? So your schedule did not work out the way you think it is because you registered last because you're a freshman. But using that time, you're here, so you almost can't go anywhere. Like using that time to study and do your homework and catch up so that you don't have to take it on your 2-hour drive home.
Yeah, you're forced to, you know, be productive with your time that you're in school, you know.
Yeah.
If I'm at home, I'm going to be like, oh, I'd rather go play with my sister and not do my homework.
Do anything else.
Yeah, so that's where I have trouble because I actually don't have much gap time in between my classes.
Mm-hmm.
I actually my fall semester I got really lucky on my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So I have maybe like an hour in between my classes. So I packed it pretty well. But when I'm home is when I have to do all my work. So there's a lot more opportunity for distraction.
Yeah. That's a good point. I lived on campus. Did you live on campus?
Yeah, during my undergrad years I did. In graduate school I commuted.
Yeah, I lived on campus in my undergrad, and it was good.
Well,
I'm kind of a private person, you know. I like my own space. It's hard to share.
Well, I mean, the best part is you can just roll out of bed at
Let me tell you,
8:50 for a 9 o'clock class. That's valuable.
I woke up late for a calculus test one time. I woke up and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" and like grabbed what was ever on the like end of my bed and ran to class. And my professor obviously knew what was wrong. He's like,
I think I have one or two of those.
Yeah, you could have come a little later and taken care of everything.
So how easy or how difficult has it been to make new friends in college? You had a bunch of friends that you saw every day in high school, and you may still keep in contact with them through, I don't know, social media or texting, or maybe some even came to this university. But has it been difficult at all to make new friends?
Me, I'm really social. I like to talk to people. But I feel like here, it's kind of harder, you know, to approach somebody without being like a big old weirdo. As in high school, you know, like not everybody knows, well, yeah, everyone knows everyone, kind of. So it's like easier to approach someone. But like here, like a stranger, you know, just coming like, hey, you know, be like, hey, watch out, I know who you are.
Well, and you're not in necessarily classes with people from your major yet, too.
Yeah.
So you could never see any of these people again right now with your general eds and stuff. Jared, what do you think?
High school, I had a really, really close-knit group of friends, so it's definitely hard. I have, like, a couple of them actually moved up north, so I don't get to see them that much at all. I mean, it's a lot easier now, especially because we have social media to keep in touch, but I don't know. It's been hard for me, like, not having my friends around because they've always been, like, my support group, but I'm slowly getting into it and figuring out how to meet new people and all. But
are you able to make friends here?
Yeah, I'm making friends, just slowly, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in still that beginning stage, whereas you had 4 years to grow your relationship with your core group.
Yeah. So have you joined any clubs or organizations to maybe help with that?
I have not, no.
I haven't either. I keep telling myself that I have 6 years, you know, to finish my major. I'll join one.
Well, that's oftentimes hard for a commuting student too. Like if you have classes on 2 days a week or even 3 days a week and the club meets another day, we're going to drive back out here for a club meeting? No way.
That was one of my concerns. There were a couple of clubs that I was looking at and they're like, oh, we meet on Mondays and Fridays. I'm like, yeah, I'm only here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It definitely is hard for a commuting student, especially a first year commuting student, to, you know, make the club schedule work.
Getting into a program is like, you're going to be a full time. You know, you're gonna be on campus full time, and
Right.
some of us don't have that time. You know, to just be here on campus for a couple hours. I don't have the money for gas. Definitely, I don't have money for gas.
It's definitely a lot easier if you're living on campus in the dorms because it's like your whole life is centered on campus, so you can join whatever you want. You have time for it.
Right.
Whatever, yeah.
So overall, has college been kind of like what you expected it to be, or has anything like really surprised you?
Nothing's really surprised me. I just kind of, I don't know. It wasn't really what I expected, but
What did you expect it to be like?
I don't know. I certainly thought it was gonna be more fun than it is. It feels more like high school 2.0 minus the fun part of having all my friends with me, and that a part of it's that I haven't really met that many people in my classes yet, but it just feels like I'm doing all the work from high school minus having friends around. So
I'm learning a lot about myself. I'm learning that I lack work ethic. Like that's in all honesty, that's what I lack. And I'm just trying to get better at it, you know, forcing myself to, you know, actually open up that computer and write that essay and doing the homework. So I'm learning a lot about myself.
It's pretty insightful for, 14 weeks in or so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what do you wish you knew before coming to college? What do you think would help you have made the transition a little easier?
They need to believe their teachers and what they're telling them in high school. It's true. They're not joking. I wish I wouldn't have, I made the right choice of coming to Pomona, you know, but, you know, CSULB was right down the street from where I live. And, you know, sometimes I think about it, like, would it be different, you know, if I was going to CSULB rather than coming all the way to Pomona for school? But I know I made the right choice.
I question a lot whether or not I should have applied to different colleges or whatever, and because I live in Corona, so it's not that far from home. So
How far would that be to the east of Pomona?
30 minutes or so.
without traffic, I can make it home in 25 minutes. With traffic, it's like
2 hours.
An hour and 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. I definitely underestimated a lot of things about college. So one of them was commuting and then being on campus. So like I had an opportunity to dorm and I turned it down. But obviously that was like an economic ideal. But
Yeah, sure.
yeah, I don't know. There's definitely things I've thought about that I might regret, but I'm trying to make the best of it. So
Are you thinking about maybe living on the dorms in your future years?
not living in the dorms, but maybe
Or
getting
living near campus, I mean.
yeah, maybe getting a place. I don't know. I have friends that go to different schools around the area, so I was like, hey, maybe we get a place halfway in between your campus and mine, and then split the costs.
Me and my parents are kicking me out. I have a friend that lives in Montclair, and I spend the night, you know, if I feel really, really tired and I don't want to drive, I have a place to stay.
That's much closer than Long Beach.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
About 15, 20 minutes or so.
So
Okay.
my mom and my dad are like kicking me out, like, go, rent the room, you know, with her. And I'm like, I'm not ready to leave you guys. And they're like, yeah, we're ready to leave you. I'm like, you guys are so mean. I'm like, wow. Like,
They're kicking you out of the nest.
Yeah. My mom's like, just go. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. My dad's like, you're just using that as an excuse. They're all attacking me. They just want me to leave.
I mean, it's an opportunity. It's
Yeah.
an opportunity to be closer to campus, and maybe you can start taking advantage of some of the clubs a little easier.
Yes,
But it can be hard to
Leave
have
home.
that transition. Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
left home and I like the door slammed behind me. I'm like, later, I was 18 and out. And it was hard. I was close to home, but I lived on campus. And my mom used to tell me, oh, if you come home, I'll do your laundry for you. Like, that's how often I went home. I never went home. And I've been doing my own laundry since I was like 6. So, like, it was a big deal for her to do my laundry. But you get lonely. It's hard to be away that first time. And you're away and you're figuring out this new system and you're figuring out everything. And you got this engineering looming thing in front of you. It's hard.
I have a 4-year-old sister, and I basically helped raise her since she was little. So I have like the attachment with her, you know. If I like when we came for orientation for the 2 days or whatever, she was like, when you're coming home, you know, calling me, and I'm like, I'll go home tomorrow, I promise. And she like keeps telling me not to leave her because they keep talking about me moving out. And she just keeps telling me not to leave her. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to leave you. Makes me so sad, but they're kicking me out. So I have to go.
I'm kind
Opportunity.
of the opposite of you. When I was applying to college and I was thinking about how it was going to work out, I was like, well, it'll work. I'll be close to home, whatever. I can still hang out with my friends and the people I know from my high school because it's relatively close to my high school. But like I said, all my core group kind of split for college. So then I was like left at home. I'm like, well, I've got 4 days. What do I do now with my time? So now I'm kind of wishing that I either would have dormed, or if I chose a different college, maybe somewhere farther off, that way I could actually like get the feeling of, oh, I've got stuff to figure out and kind of start my life fresh, if that makes sense. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I still actually, from my first year dorming, I think I still have one or two friends that I still talk to. It was a really, really good experience to meet people. Because, I mean, it's kind of like high school. You're just stuck with these people.
Stuck with is the right word, right, Jared?
Have you talked to students who are maybe a year or two ahead of you already?
I have, yeah.
Okay. So, and maybe they've talked to you about some of the future courses that you'll have to take. So
They're scaring me already.
that was going to be my question. So how are you planning for your next few years of college based on your conversations with those students who are a few years ahead of you?
Well, I'm just trying to keep my courses on track, and then making sure that I'm not overloading myself. She helped me actually a lot, Dr. Perez did, because I was with my spring semester, I was going to overload myself, and she was like, hey, why don't you do this instead? And that is going to be a big payoff. But I'm looking into taking community college classes over the summer, just to make sure that the classes that are like terminal and then won't help me take more classes here, like won't waste my units. So
me, I hope Dr. Perez could keep helping me with getting those classes together, because she called me a dummy.
No, I said you were making a short-sighted decision.
No,
go ahead and say it.
I think she called me a dummy too.
Yes.
I think I said it was a stupid decision.
Yes.
I'm not cutting this out.
No, you're not. It's okay.
Yes, but she made me realize that yes, it was dumb of me
To take a 7 a.m. class, 2 days. That was your only class. You come to school for 2 days for 7 a.m.
Well, now
class.
she's learned her lesson.
Yes.
So now she's not gonna.
Yes.
I
she helped
saved
me
her
with
next
that.
semester.
Yes, and same with him. The summer courses,
Mhm.
those are very important to me, because I do want to graduate in the 4 years, and I think the summer classes will help.
And it's
out.
interesting to me the way Jared and Monica kind of plan. Monica is a little more by the seat of her pants, like, oh, it's time? Okay, let me register and look. And Jared's like, in 4 years, I'd like to be here.
Yes.
And in 3 years, I need to take these classes. So they have very different approaches to the same goal. Like Jared has his flow map out. He's got everything color-coded. He's ready to go. He knows. He's starting to ask questions like, in 3 years, what would I take? And I'm like, how about next semester first? And then Monica's like, oh, next semester. Yeah, okay, I should register. Let's open that up and
I was
look.
like crying. I was like, wow. It was like, I don't know how many weeks in, and he already had his flow chart out, and I don't know. And I was like, man, am I not doing it right?
Yeah,
Like,
what's
what's
that,
going
like our
on?
6th week or something like
Yeah.
that? When it was the 3 of us. That was when you actually told us about the podcast.
Yeah, and Jared's got a
Yeah.
flow map out and was like talking about stuff, and Monica's like, I'm behind apparently.
Yeah, I was looking at him. I'm like, wow, I haven't even looked at that since orientation. Like,
Mhm.
it was crazy.
But then differently too, like we've talked about kind of what you want to do after college, and Monica has a much different way of planning that than Jared does too. So Monica, can you talk about what you're thinking?
Oh, I want to get my PhD. In
Oh,
chemical
cool.
engineering.
In chemical engineering?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Why?
And why?
Do you know why? Go ahead and
No,
say it.
why? Why did I tell you?
So people will call me doctor.
Yes. I do. I want to be called doctor. I don't know. I
That's
think
not
it
a bad
sounds
reason.
cool.
It's a great reason.
I like it.
I make my in-laws
can-
call me doctor.
You can
Yeah.
much easier just legally change your first name to doctor.
Oh no, I want to be
I
like.
think that's a better idea.
I know.
Way
instead of going through the
way
whole
less
struggle,
work.
yes.
Way less work. Yeah.
Yes, but I do want to be called doctor. I forgot I told you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're actually one of our
I like
future
it.
episodes is going to be all about what graduate school is like. So
So
I'll
listen
let you
in.
know. I'll let you know when that one's released.
Yeah,
Yes.
me too. I think I'm planning on. I definitely want to go to graduate school. I don't know if I want to get my PhD or not. It's definitely an idea of mine, because if I don't end up liking working in the field of engineering, I'd like to end up being a professor or something like that at a university. So getting a PhD is kind of a step in that direction if that's the way I'm going to go. So that's kind of where my head's at.
Yeah. Nowadays, if you want to be hired at a university, you pretty much have to have
a PhD.
PhD. In the
Mhm.
past, it wasn't necessarily so. But yeah,
Correct.
nowadays you pretty much have to.
Mhm.
So actually, my next question was going to be, you haven't taken many discipline-specific courses yet. You've taken maybe some physics or math or whatever. Have you been scared off yet by those courses from engineering, or has this made you maybe even be more determined to pursue engineering?
So I have a friend that's in a class right now. He was from high school and he's taking mechanical engineering with me, but he got to jump the physics class that I'm in right now, whereas I didn't. So he's in the vector statics class that I have to take next semester, and I'm not hearing good things from him. So it's scaring me because mechanical engineering is a lot more physics based than I thought it was going to be. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh wow, that's intimidating. So
Yeah, absolutely. Statics is one of those courses that
It's called the gatekeeper for a reason.
Yeah, statics.
It's like fundamental to everything.
For many,
you have to do.
for many disciplines, for mechanical engineering, for
Electromechanical.
civil, for a bunch of different.
Pretty much everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Do chemical have to take statics?
Mm.
Oh, I haven't even looked at
Oh,
the
okay.
No, she hasn't looked at her
She
flow
hasn't
chart.
looked at her
I'm in the
flow
flow
chart
chart
yet.
that far.
Up
I'm the
to
whole-
next semester.
Until next semester, yes, please. One semester at a time.
So Monica, have any of the classes you've had so far scared you off or made you more determined?
Dr. Perez and another student enlightened me on how the class is gonna be fine. I'll be fine in the class, in my intro to chem and the
Mhm.
lab. Yeah, I'm determined. I really want to be called doctor, so I'm gonna work extra hard for that because we need it. I need it.
Yeah.
In your remaining years, getting your undergraduate degree, so next 3 or 4 years or so, are there a couple things that you want to get out of this college experience that might not even be related to your major?
Question.
I want to just be a whole different person than right now, you know? I want to have that worth ethic that I was telling you guys about.
Mhm.
I want to, look back and be like, oh, how was I that lazy, Like,
Right.
I could do it in a breeze now. So that's definitely what I want to see in 3 or 4 years.
I'm kind of on the same with you. I want to fix my work ethic. I there's a lot of times where I'll procrastinate on something and I'm like, oh, I could have had this done way sooner than I do, but now it's 2 a.m. and I'm working on an assignment that should have been done 2 weeks ago. Or like, I don't know, it's a lot of time management issues for me. So that's where I'd like to put my effort into fixing it. But again, it's something that's like mind over matter. So it's kind of hard for me to just be like, oh, I can do this, no problem. Like I can tell myself I'm going to do it, but then I have to actually go and do it, which is the hard part.
Right.
So
I think that's pretty like evolved for, still first semester. You want to be a different person, a better, different, better
A better Monica. I just want to be a better Monica. in 3 or
Monica
4 years.
2.0.
Yes. A whole different Monica. Hopefully I talk different too.
But I can tell you that after I spent 4 years in college, I certainly emerged much different. I mean, there was many things that were the same,
Right.
but you definitely emerged differently from this experience than when you first came in.
Just seeing things differently. Like you just
Yeah.
approach things with a different perspective. I have friends that didn't go to college, and that's fine, and whatever, but you just kind of, I noticed for myself, I definitely evolved differently, and I looked at things differently, and I kind of saw a bigger picture after I was done with college.
it's a different life experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Me actually, like, my family thinks I brag. Like, the rest of my family thinks I brag because I come to Cal Poly Pomona. But I'm like, because they talk so good about the school or whatever. But it's not like to show off. I'm just proud, that.
Right.
Because I didn't think I was going to get accepted to this university. And when I got accepted, I was like, wow, I did it. So like, I think that's what drove me to actually come here.
Mm-hmm.
So before I let you go, do you have any recommendations for seniors who are in high school right now, who are thinking about applying to college, to help make that transition easier, or to maybe help them understand what are the realities of college?
Well, and more so like in engineering too,
Yeah, especially with, although they haven't taken too many.
They've been in
engineering
the
courses.
culture though. They've been
Absolutely.
in the rooms. They know what it's like.
I mean, yeah, if you've taken college level physics
Mm-hmm.
and math courses, that
You're
gives
here.
you a taste of what,
Welcome.
yeah, that'll give you a taste of what engineering courses will be like. So do you have any things that you'd like to say to high school students who are following behind you?
I would just say, make sure you do a lot of research on the colleges you apply to. Make sure, say you want to go to Cal Poly Pomona, make sure you have everything in order to do so. Make sure that your grades are where they need to be, your SAT scores, ACT scores, whatever it needs to be, make sure it's there. And if not, and if you can't get the score you need to on your SAT or whatever, don't stress it too much. Just take it as you can and do with life what you will.
Yeah. I just want to add that, like, a school isn't for everyone. So I feel like if you know you're iffy about going to college, then you should think about it, because then you're just wasting your time and the money. If you want to take a year off, that's okay too. I wish I would have took the year off, but no, I decided to go straight in from high school. So I just want to let them know that if that's not what they want to do, they don't have to,
Yeah, and just trusting that process.
Yeah.
It's hard
because there's a lot of jobs out there, engineering, well, not like welding jobs and stuff that pay good. You don't have to have a degree or anything.
There's a lot of technical schools out there for sure.
So if that's something they want to do for now, then that's fine as well.
Yeah. What was the process that you went through to search for what universities you were interested in?
Personally, I'm not very confident and proud of myself for the way that I researched my universities. I kind of just went based off namesake. Like, oh, what did somebody say about this school? Oh, that school's good. Okay, I've heard good things about it. Versus actually going online and researching, and there were resources for me to do so, and I didn't really take the opportunities to do so, which is part of the reason that I'm so ahead of myself on my schedule now and looking 3 years ahead and stuff like that, and looking at grad school already. It's because I don't want to make the same mistake I did in high school, or the same mistake that I feel I made, which is not researching enough. So I'm trying to beat myself there right now.
I was actually looking into Saddle. Is that what it's called? Saddle?
I think Saddleback Community College.
Oh, Community College, yeah, Saddleback.
Something like that. And the PE teacher in my high school was like, "Oh my God, you'll be so good there," and gassing it up, like encouraging me to go there. And then I was researching it, and then I seen Cal Poly Pomona. And then I remember my best friend had actually came on a field trip here, and I didn't go to that field trip. I missed out. I'm a loser. So I asked her about it. I was like, "How do you like it?" She was like, "Oh my God, it was so much walking. Like, I was so tired." That's what she was complaining about. And overall, though, she told me that it was a really nice campus, and I didn't research like any of the classes or what it was like to be a student here, which I wish I would have done as well.
Well, Monica, Jared, and Jessica, thank you so much for taking some time to share your thoughts about what it's like to be a first-time freshman. And I'm sure this interview for any high school students who are listening will help them with that, get a better idea of what that transition into college is like. And if possible, maybe we can do this once a year and touch base and see what you've learned.
See the evolution of Monica 2.0.
Yes,
you have to see the brand new Monica.
Yes.
I'd actually like to say one more thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You were asking advice that we should give to high school
absolutely,
students. Yeah. I know I always had this idea of step one is graduate high school, and then immediately after go to college and then get into your job, and then that's life from there. And it's honestly, I think it's a generational thing where it's kind of you're rushing your life versus actually enjoying it. So college right now for me is more about yeah, obviously I'm planning my future, but I want to take a step back and kind of enjoy the now versus just rushing through it and trying to get to a step that's 8 years in the future, because that's a lot of time that I feel like I'm going to be skipping out and just trying to get through rather than actually enjoying.
Maybe, Jared, that's where your planning comes from. If you don't have to think about it. So I'm planned, so I know what's coming next. So now I can just enjoy where I am because I already know what's coming next.
That's how he is, right? Me, I'm more of like a go with the flow kind of gal. So hopefully when you guys talk to me in 3 or 4 years, I'm not like that anymore. Hopefully I'm planning my future like he is, because right now, definitely not.
Well, no, I'd rather be like you in some ways, because it's really stressful.
I wish to be like you sometimes. It's crazy. But
so you guys will start hanging out together. You got a couple friends right here.
Yeah. We're friends now. We're going to be friends. I'm going to teach you how to be
Kick back.
Cool.
All right.
And
Just
then
come
you go
back a
teach
year
me how
from
to
now, it's
plan.
going to be completely opposite.
Yeah.
Jared's
Monica
like, I
has
don't know
the
what
next
I'm
6
doing
years
next.
planned. Jared's like, it's okay. It's next week.
I switched my major.
Yeah.
I'm not doing engineering. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you so much, everyone. This has been great.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you for having
Thank
us.
you.
I would like to again thank Monica Felix and Jared Changizian for spending some time with me to share their personal experiences of what it's like to be a freshman engineering student. I'm hoping that we can catch up with them in their second year of college to check on their progress. Also thanks to Dr. Jessica Perez for giving her perspective on typical experiences of freshman engineering students. And finally, I'd like to thank Gerardo Maldonado for running the soundboard during the recording of this episode. Goodbye for now.